Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Get It Off Your Chest, the funny side of breast cancer, with Twinkle Tits herself, Andrea Moulding, which is me. But we're not joined by Estelle this week. There's no hard scouser on the show. She's otherwise engaged, so she's probably on holiday, or she's probably doing an interview with Oprah, as she was in Women's Own last week, so it's not that much of a leap. Not that I'm jealous or anything. But before we welcome our fabulous guest, as always, I thought I'd give you our latest cancer news, or my cancer news. I got a letter last week saying I was due a mammogram. And I thought, hang on, I've had one in April. I'm not the most organised person. And I rang up, and apparently now I'm over kind of 5 years. I'm the same as everybody else, so I'm no longer special. And you kind of expect that to be quite reassuring, really, going over your 5 years. But actually, it completely freaked me out. I'm so used to being micromanaged by the NHS that actually it was a bit of a shocker to be told that I'm the same as everyone else. I don't know if anyone else has had that. The apron strings have been well and truly cut, and I am 5 years free, and I will be joining everybody else in the queue for mammograms. I also got a marvellous gift through the post of a cancer card, which is like a kind of gold credit card. And it says on it, it can be used to get out of anything. No explanation necessary. And it never expires. So obviously I will be bringing that out and making sure I get everything that's due to me and pulling out the cancer card. And it is absolutely fabulous and I love it. So the person that sent me that, thank you very much. Big shout out to them. And my final piece of cancer news is that my nipple tattoo, which I've been waiting for, has been delayed again. I'll probably be saying exactly the same thing in a year's time, but I'm not going to criticise the NHS because we love the NHS. Can't wait to tell you all about that if it ever happens. And this week, we are joined by a fabulous guest, Jen Greenhut. Hi, how are you? Thanks ever so much for coming on. Before we kind of get into the kind of main bit of the podcast, can you tell our listeners a little bit about the history of your cancer, when you were diagnosed, what type it was?
I was diagnosed in December 14th. I'm a yoga teacher. I felt like this lump under my arm. I went to the doctor thinking it was nothing. Within a week, I was diagnosed with stage 4 triple negative breast cancer. And it was the scariest thing I've ever experienced because I thought I was going to die. I didn't know anyone who had stage 4. And triple negative is one of the most aggressive breast cancers there are. So it really hit me like I'm walking around this healthy yoga teacher with stage 4 cancer. That just was like crazy. Was a newlywed. I was married for a year and a half. We were trying to have a baby. I was going through a lot of rounds of IVF. And after 3 rounds that weren't working, my husband said, we should take a break. Let's get a dog and let's just reset and see what happens. And so at that point, I was just like, oh my gosh, like my purpose of being a mom is not going to be fulfilled. I felt so lost and so depressed. I didn't see any kind of light. And then 4 months later, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So I was like, what is going on? I thought the universe was trying to kill me because my purpose of being, and then I was interviewing oncologists, and the third oncologist at UCLA, I got the chills. I was praying for a sign. Who do I pick as my doctor? And he told me that I most likely would have died if I had gotten pregnant. And that was the whole change of my entire perception of cancer. I saw it.
You get some major signs, don't you? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I asked for them. That was the turning point because in a moment I felt like a warrior and not a victim. I felt like if the universe was saving my life by not giving me what I wanted, then the universe is always saving my life and giving me what I need. Yeah. So I saw it.
The universe had your back for sure, didn't it?
The universe had my back, and I just trusted whatever I'm supposed to learn and get from this. I'm going to believe it's going to be the best thing that happened to me. And that's exactly what happened. And I learned so many lessons, the power of love and self-love and trust. And I was cancer-free in 4 months. It was like, oh, wow, you're a quick learner. I'm going to go now. And so I had to start a company and a foundation. I had to share this important message.
Yeah, we were saying, if it hadn't been for cancer, never would have done a podcast, let alone a comedy podcast. Do you know what I mean?
I
So
love it.
yeah,
I love it. There's so much humor in cancer. In the whole
absolutely. So that
journey.
brings us very neatly on. Tell us about your first meeting at the hospital. You made a bit of a splash, didn't you, to say the least? So over
To
to
say the
you.
least. I'm just happy that we had no fatalities. And let's just say we walked in with one patient, we came out with two patients. But it was also the scariest one because it's my very first appointment. This is when I'm thinking I'm gonna die, and we're all
Yeah.
freaked out. I had a whole team behind me, my mom, my dad, my sister, my dog, my husband. And
Mm.
for our first oncologist meeting, we were with my mom and my sister and me and my dog. So
Your
we
dog.
get to running late because I'm coming from a breast MRI that obviously is always running late. So, and we're at the end of the
Yeah.
day. So we're just like rushing to make it to the appointment so the doctor doesn't leave. And so my husband's driving. We pull into the valet. He's like, "You guys go up. I'll park the car. I'll meet you." It was like very dramatic. So he parks the car. I get out of the front seat. My sister gets out of the back seat. My mom behind me is getting out of the back seat. And he takes off, one foot in, one foot out, kind of runs over her foot. We all scream. He backs over her foot. We all scream. My mom is in shock. My mom's foot was run over twice by my
You're
husband,
on over
by her
twice.
son-in-law.
You're at your
So
oncology, finding out that you've got stage 4 cancer, and your mother. She gets in on the act there. Oh my God. So
she's basically, this is my mom. She's like, "You guys go up. I'll just be okay." So like the ballet guys are freaking out. Like they
yeah,
put her in a wheelchair. They just calm her down. My sister is with me in the doctor's office, and I'm like in the doctor's office waiting to have like an appointment and go over all these scans that I have no idea what to expect. And in the background, I see
yeah.
like my husband wheeling my mom in a wheelchair to go get her ankle x-rayed. And so, and
Like
then,
a carry-on
meanwhile,
film,
we
though,
go,
like in the background.
yep, exactly. I have stage 4 cancer. My mom has like, we don't know what's wrong with her. It was just not a good day.
Oh God. And they're so stoic, that generation, aren't they? One of my aunties had a heart attack once, and she was a matron, and matrons are kind of very stern at the hospital. And when the ambulance was picking her up, she made it stop so she could give the builders who were putting in a new kitchen some more directions, and then she let them take her to the hospital.
Yeah, like, "I'll be okay.
I'll
You
be
guys
okay.
go.
She's
I'll
broken
be
my ankle
okay."
in 10 places, but I'll be fine.
My husband can't ever live that down. Yeah.
Well, it does make a fabulous story, and I'm sure you've embarrassed him at every dinner
Uh-huh.
party that you've
Yes.
had.
And it's
Fantastic.
definitely one of the highlight chapters in the book that we wrote. Everyone needs a
Yes, I want
Larry.
to hear all about that book because you wrote a book called
Everyone needs a
Everyone Needs
Larry.
a Larry.
And yeah, because
Fabulous.
we were trying to just honor the caregiver, assuming most caregivers don't run over, their
No,
mother-in-law's feet.
no,
This was
Patrick never
just
did that
an
to me,
accident,
I
a
have to say.
mistake. We we forgive him because caregivers
Yeah,
have a very hard job. We're thrown into a patient and they're thrown into being a caregiver. So we wrote it like a he said, she said, "This is my journey as a patient. This is his journey as a caregiver." And so we
yeah,
really just documented from day one and how couples stay together and find love and marriage and heal from stage 4 cancer. And we wanted
yeah,
to inspire couples like, this will make you stronger and better. Just,
yeah.
trust the process and do it together.
Absolutely. And I
And
think
so,
a lot of people, right, I know I wrote a book as well, but that was mainly all about me. Patrick didn't get a look in, not like Larry. But I do love that story. And Larry features quite heavily in the stories that you kind of shared with us before the podcast. Tell us about nausea. I'm not going to say any more.
nausea is one of the side effects, the symptoms. And I had 6 rounds of chemo. The 5th round was kind of the worst, 5 and 6.
Yeah.
So this is right after chemo, and I am just feeling so crappy, so nauseous, and I keep just like pacing the house, like I feel so sick, like I'm whining, I feel so sick.
Yeah,
And
I've been there, I've
so
done that.
I know. And I just like nothing. I also hate throwing up, but I wanted to
Yeah.
throw up, but I couldn't throw up. So after pacing probably for like 30 minutes, my husband just takes me by the hand. He come to the bathroom with me. He's opening up the toilet thinking he's going to help me throw up. All of a sudden he throws up. We both look at each other.
Larry, that is going
Like,
above
I
and
feel
beyond.
better. I feel better. You threw up for me? Thank you. So he's
He's like
like,
the
how's the
perfect
after
man, isn't
connection?
he? He's trying to
I
get
was
over kind
like,
of running over your mother. So he had to
you know,
pull something out of the
exactly. It's the
bag.
least he could do. Yeah.
Exactly. There's the least
But
you could do, Larry.
it was really, really crazy. That's how like we really are so connected energetically, whether it's my dog, whether
Yeah.
it's my husband. He had the nauseous energy and he took it on and got rid of it for me.
He took one for the
And
team.
it was
Yeah.
like took one for the team. And I was very grateful and I felt better. I promise you I felt better.
I love Larry. I think we might have to get Larry on the show. I'd like to
Oh
meet
yeah.
Larry. He sounds like a good man.
Good
Also,
man.
I know that you had a lot of fun, and I know you were saying that humour's really important to you. And I think once you kind of chill into your diagnosis, that's probably not a terribly articulate way of saying it, but you kind of get used to the diagnosis, you can start having fun with things. And I know that you had a lot of colourful wigs, didn't you? And you had a lot of fun with
Mm-hmm.
them. So do you want to
I had a
tell
lot
us?
of fun with him. Larry had a lot of fun with him. He felt like he was like back in his dating life, you know, dating
Yeah.
different girl every night.
Yeah,
We had
different
different
woman.
names for them. You know,
Yes.
his favorite, he has a favorite. His favorite was this blonde kind of ball wig. Gosh, I forgot what we named her. Isabella. Isabella. That was his
Isabella.
favorite. Yeah, Isabella.
Yeah, I did the same. I had a blue one and a white one, and then I had a kind of incredibly curly one. And all of those wigs, every time we have Christmas or Easter or anything really, my brother gets them out and we all wear them at the dinner table. It's become a bit of a
That's so
tradition in our
funny.
household.
Oh,
But
I
didn't
love that. Yeah, like
didn't you have?
Larry would surprise me with like some wigs and he'd grab my guitar and he'd start like playing a song. And then
Yeah.
we'd put wigs on my dog, you know, for modeling them. And I've saved them all just thinking maybe for Halloween and stuff like that. And I still like the wigs. Like they're really cool wigs. You know, if
Yeah.
I have a bad hair
Do you
day,
know,
I like just put
I
on the wig.
used to have incredibly curly hair, but since I've had chemo, it's gone really, really flat. My brother always gets out, like I've got a big ginger orange wig, and I look like the lead
Yeah.
singer of Led Zeppelin. But I've also got a really slick blonde one that I quite like, which is actually my screensaver. Me and Paddy at Christmas last year, everyone's dressed in wigs, and we're all kind of standing there. But it just
I think
becomes the
it's,
norm.
yeah.
Weren't you saying that one of your relatives suffered with dementia and you had a wig that you wore? Do you remember that story you were telling us about? And
Oh, yes. Okay. So Larry's mom was alive and suffering from dementia. So we didn't, when I was diagnosed, she was sort of like midway into her dementia. So we didn't want to tell her and like freak her out. I go through
yeah,
chemo, I lose all my hair. It's starting to grow back, and I'm in this like bleach blonde kind of punk look. And she whispers to Larry, she's like, your girlfriend's really cute, but does your wife know about her?
did
And then
Larry
there was
did
one
Larry
time
play
she
along?
thought like I was his brother,
Oh,
his brother
really?
who has blonde hair, blonde short hair.
Oh,
So
I
she was
I know.
confused.
That's fantastic. And did Larry play along and pretend it was his girlfriend, or?
Yeah. Well, no, he was, I think he just probably said, thank you, mom. Thank you, mom.
Yeah, I went through a phase of having a kind of white hair that I looked like I was in the kind of US Army, and Annie Lennox sort of look. Pretty cool. But then it went through that grey stage, and then you get a mullet, you know. So I went through all the phases, and now I've just got straight hair.
Yeah, yeah.
But at least I've got hair, so I'm not going to
So it's
whine
funny
about it
that
really.
your hair was curly and my hair was straight, and now since growing back, it has like this wave to it, and it's also a
Yeah,
lot thicker. And I mean, my hair is so
really
much
thicker.
better. Really, yeah.
Oh,
But
mine's
I've
gone a
also
lot
taken some
thinner.
hair vitamin. But yeah, I'm
Oh,
like
right. Mm-hmm.
my hairdresser. Yeah, he's like, your hair is so good. I'm like,
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, well, you look fantastic, I have to say. I mean, obviously you're a yoga teacher. You do
Hmm.
look amazing. And I know
Yeah.
you've just rushed in from work, so
It also really like my skin got so amazing from chemo.
did
Like I
it?
had this crazy glow. Yeah. And
Wow.
so my skin is still really good, but it was really, really good during chemo.
Really?
So I
Because
think,
mine
I don't
was
know, I really, like in my mind, I think it just took all the negative crap, it was like a
mm,
cleanse in a way,
you
and
bleached it all out.
building
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah. Well, maybe you just
And,
replaced
yeah,
all the cells, through your body.
mhm,
But I
exactly.
had a
Exactly.
terrible rash on my face for ages.
Oh,
Yeah, so
really? How did you
think
treat it?
you came out better than me. I had like this eye here was permanently
Yeah.
shut. I always had constant eye infections and then
Oh, wow.
rashes and God knows what.
The worst part
Uh,
for me was like the mouth sores. I hate it. That was so painful.
oh,
All
you've
the
got mouth? I
sores in
never
your
got
mouth.
those.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
my
Yeah, we
friend is a
had,
nurse. Yeah, we had a totally different experience. My friend
it
who's
was
a nurse,
horrible. Yeah.
Jo, or Auntie Pajamas, as she's called in our household, she was absolutely like, she bought me this industrial mouthwash and gave me instructions to wash my mouth out with it twice a day. And I did that. I never had any problems, but I met loads of people who had those problems. But I didn't swerve the eye infections.
Ugh, that's horrible. Well, I'm glad you're all good now.
Yes, and you look fantastic. And thank you again for coming on the show. But I want to
My
find
pleasure.
out before you go, a little bit about your book, where people can get it, what it's called, you can signpost people to it, and also about your foundation. The floor is yours, so big yourself up and tell us all about the amazing things that you've done.
Okay, so the first thing I did when I was going through chemo, I was learning the power of love, and I was healing all of this like past background of self-hate, and I was learning that that is the seed of all the bad stuff when we
Yeah.
don't love ourselves. That's such a
Mm.
huge thing. And once we start loving ourselves, and it's a whole process and journey, and it's all work, at all times. But once you come from that love and the gratitude for the journey to teach me that important power, that superpower that I
Yeah.
have, and the trust in my doctors and the trust that everything is working out the way it should, that was a huge thing. And just the fact that I was cancer free in 4 months, I just
Yeah.
felt so
Incredible.
passionate about sharing this message and this
Yeah.
lesson that I feel everyone can benefit, whatever they're going through, whatever challenge they are facing. So I started a company based on triple negative, and I switched triple negative into zero negative because zero negative means
Yeah.
basically no negative, only positive. So
Yeah.
all
I like
negatives
that.
can be positives. And then it was about spreading love and giving back to cancer research. I designed a tote bag that says love. It was an amazing chemo bag, and then just an everyday bag, a gym bag, a diaper bag, a
A
travel
yoga
bag,
bag,
a
no doubt. Yeah.
beach bag,
Yeah.
and it came in 5 colors. And I started from there, and I was giving back to UCLA and the Johnson Cancer Center Foundation, which is where I did all my treatment.
Brilliant.
And from there, I've been on this journey of still spreading love, giving back, and we have other accessories, like we have clutches, we have crossbody bags that turn into fanny packs, because when we have double mastectomies, we can't wear anything across our chest, so we have a
Yeah.
fanny pack, and then when we're ready, we can put the crossbody on. But it's all to spread this message and to empower people and to understand that we have a choice how we want to look at our situation.
Yeah.
And today I have a foundation called the Zero Negative Foundation, which I started with another breast cancer survivor. Her name's Stacy Uberstein. And we have a passion of, basically, we sell the accessories and we give the accessories through the selling of the accessories. So it's like a buy one, give one type
Yeah.
model.
Like a double
And
whammy.
what we're exactly kind of like a Tom's type of thing.
Yeah.
We're working on filling the love totes that we're going to give to patients going through chemo and cancer treatment with items that are super helpful to go through cancer treatment.
Yeah.
And just comforting, supportive items, and just to let others know, like, we're saying prayers for you. We've been there. We are holding space for you to heal through this journey. We can't do it for you, but we can support you and be your cheerleader and just say, I'm thinking about you. Because I remember when I was a patient, there were so many just free things that were coming to me, or just people saying, sending me a card or sending me like a juice. And it just meant so much. So we just want to do that for patients.
That's amazing.
And it really is like, I made a deal with God too. I was like, if you let me live, I promise I will help other people get through them. So it's almost like, it's my contract. During COVID, I had this desire just to use my time wisely. I wanted to write my story in a book. So it could also be shared. And my husband was like, well, what about me? Like, I'm a huge part of your story. Why don't we write it from the caregiver and the patient? And I was like, that's brilliant. And he's like, we're so much like Harry Met Sally. And then if you just add, then Sally gets cancer, that's our story. So it came really quickly because it was just so in me and in him.
Just flowed.
And we had fun writing it. And we also kind of like, in the book, we're arguing in the book because, we're like, well, I didn't do that yet. Like, so it's like a very engaging live sort of story. And it takes you through how we met, which was also a crazy story. How we met, how we fell in love, what we were doing, then boom, stage 4 cancer. So, and then how to figure it out. And it's called Everyone Needs a Larry. It's on Amazon. And we also include it in these chemo love totes that go to patients.
Amazing. So, and what a kind of positive thing to get out of something that was shocking and horrendous at the time, but you've turned it around and, helping other people and got a lot of strength from it. Post-traumatic growth, as they say. And I'm a big believer in that.
That is the goal. And I think, if everyone just took their challenge and saw it as an opportunity to heal and to grow and to learn something, you have the power to have the life you want.
And the book sounds very, very, very funny. And, we do the podcast because everyone's like, oh, I'm so sorry you got cancer. And it's like so depressing and people don't know how to react. So we always say, if you can have a laugh and you can talk about it, it opens the conversation up. It makes it okay to have those conversations. And that sounds exactly like what you're doing. And the foundation, uNegative Foundation, great play on words, fantastic organisation and brilliant. So anyone who's listening wants to check them out. Are you on Instagram and Facebook and all of those sorts of things?
Yeah, if you just go to Love Zero Negative, you will find us.
Jen, thank you so much for being an absolutely brilliant guest. We come to the end of another episode. Jen's been a fantastic guest. So check out her book, check out her foundation. And next time my partner in crime, Estelle, will actually be here. But Estelle would kill me if I forgot to say that, as always, if you like our podcast, can you share it with everybody that you know that you think would appreciate it, of course. If you do like it, please leave us a review. If you don't like it, obviously don't. And as always, you can find us on all the kind of social media channels, Instagram, Facebook. And if you want to write to us, obviously you can email us at stories@tittytowers.com. So Hamilton Brown III, our security man, is rattling his keys. It's time to go. I'm going to say goodbye now to Jen, and we will see you next time when hopefully the Scouser will be here with me. Thank you for listening and keep healthy and humorous. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.